Alright everybody, this is Mr. G with another quick tutorial. We're working on creating backgrounds for animations, for games, for whatever. And in this case, we're going to create a city background. And again, I'm not an artist, so we're going to take a look at hacks for making this easier. We're using Paint.net. You could use any graphics design program, but Paint.net is free, and there's some great things about it. So here we go. First thing I'm going to do to create my city is I'm just going to get my I'm going to add some of my buildings. I guess that's a thing that you add in a city. So I'm going to add a new layer, okay, and I'm going to do, this is going to be my building. So I'm going to just name my layer buildings, and I'm going to go to the shape tool, and you're going to see that your options have changed up here, and I'm going to go to the filled in and draw filled shape with an outline so that I can save myself a lot of extra work. So what it does is it outlines your, for example, let's try drawing something here. Okay, if you see what it did a black outline with a blue inside. Now that's not the color I want, so I'm gonna change that blue to a gray color. So I'm clicking on my secondary color, and I'm gonna select maybe a dark, light gray. Okay, and I'm gonna just create some building shapes here, and it's locking. I don't know why it's locking here. Let's see what's going on. There we go. Once I put it on, I can stretch it or drag it and do whatever I want with it. I'm gonna leave room for a street down here. In fact, I'm gonna draw a line. You know what? While I'm at it, I'm gonna draw a line. I'm gonna hold Shift. I'm gonna draw a line. That's where my street is gonna be. Okay, it's gonna be across the bottom, and I'm gonna make sure that it kind of fills the bottom there, and that's using a black line. Now I'm gonna draw more of my cities, buildings, towers. I'm gonna make some skinny, some fat, and hit Enter once you've got that, and then maybe one that's kind of wide here. Okay, and I'm gonna just bring it right down. Maybe I'll bring it up a little bit. Okay, and then hit Enter. Okay, so there's some cities. I'm gonna do another layer of buildings. I'm gonna do some in the background that are even darker. So I'm gonna change that secondary color. I click on the box, and it even says secondary right now. I'm gonna go with a darker gray, and I'm gonna do these. See, this is under that building layer. And I'm just gonna drag out some shapes in the background. I'm gonna hit Enter. And this is going to give it a little bit of that three-dimensional, feel. And I can always turn this layer off to see what I've done there. And I'm going to call this Buildings 2. And then the hardest thing, and the thing I think that makes it look the coolest right away, and I'm going to change my background too. I'm going to go to I'm going to fill that with maybe like a sky color here, maybe a darker sky, maybe a night sky. So I've clicked on my background layer, painted. That's too dark. Isn't that what I was looking for? Let's go to my primary color here. There we go. And you can change that color later. But I'm going to, for right now, let's see. What color do I want? Yeah, I think I'm just going to go with a blue color. And then I can fill this in later. That's on, what layer is that on? That's on my front layer. I have that line, so I might fill that with like the light gray for the street. Oops. Let's click on the right layer, the buildings layer. There we go. There's my street. Maybe it's going to be a darker color. Sure. Yeah. Okay. Now the windows. This is probably the cool. I think this makes everything look really cool. And I'm going to show you a trick for doing this a little faster, maybe. I'm going to have the rectangle tool. I'm going to pick a yellow color, so like there's light in the windows, so click on that. Let's see, there we go. And then I'm going to draw a square. Now I'm going to change this to, I'm going to flip-flop these colors, and I'm going to so it's got the black is the outline and the yellow is the inside. I'm going to hit Enter, and I'm going to draw a couple windows. I'm going to do them different sizes because it's a cartoon. Okay. And then, this is the trick. I'm going to use my selection tool, and I'm going to select over those windows like this. And I'm going to hit Control C, Control C for copy, or you can go edit copy and Control V for paste. Now it's pasted, and you'll see that now there's a marching ants. Now if I click and drag this, watch what happens. Boom, I am dragging it down, and I have 2 sets of windows. And then I'm going to highlight all 6 of those, and I'm going to hit Control C, and guess what I'm going to type? Control V again, drag that down. All of a sudden I have a whole building of windows, and I'm going to do another original set of windows for this building so that they have a slightly different look. But that's the idea, so that you don't have to recreate everything, because the computer can do the work for you. And right away, just in a very short period of time, in about 5 minutes, we have a building that's starting to have some depth and interest as a background instead of just, you know, blobs. And you know, I looked at pictures on Google for inspiration. They used some odd shape sizes, so you could create a couple custom windows using the line tool and to give it that, you know, those off-center angles. You could do something that's more of a free drawing, but if you're in a rush, if there's a time crunch, copy and paste is just the best thing ever. I'm going to just try this real quick. I'm just going to go ahead and copy these like this. Let's just Control C and Control V. And then I'm going to move it over here, and see it's a little too wide, but I can just squish it in. What? Boom. And then I can just copy this bottom part and get my selection rectangle square here. Control C, Control V. I mean, it just looks so much more interesting now. And I could do a different color window for these background, maybe a darker yellow color for the background. But anyway, there you go. There's how to make and start a city. And you can do more interesting things like adding clouds in the background. Maybe you're going to put your dotted lines on your street. You could make the buildings more three-dimensional by adding the 3D lines, and that's for people. We're not going to get into that today. Anyway, have a great day. Keep creating stuff. It's Mr. Giles.